Have a few minutes? You won't believe what you can do with it. Open a Regions checking account online in as little as 5 minutes. Then enjoy award-winning service and banking tools and tech that help you live in the moment. Learn more at regions.com/liveinthemoment. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
Broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio inside the Sonesta Gwinnett Place Atlanta Hotel. It's time for Gwinnett Business Radio. Gwinnett Business Radio is presented by Regions Bank. Brave the beginning. Member FDIC.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to Gwinnett Business Radio. I am your host, Stephen Julian. With me is my co-host, Harper LaBelle, and we are broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studios. Love is what makes a Subaru a Subaru. All of our listeners can enjoy big savings and a hassle-free experience at Subaru of Gwinnett, where people sell cars. Visit SubaruofGwinnett.com and join their family today, or come in and see the difference. If you're already a Subaruist, then make sure to check out all their social media pages for the latest news, offers, and community events. As I said before, we've got a great guest. Well, I didn't say we have a great guest, but we do. But I have a fantastic co-host. He is Harper LaBelle. Good morning, Harper.
I hope I love today's guest, or at least really enjoy today's guest as much as possible, because we're gonna talk about school and some things like that. And did you ever get hit on the wrist with the ruler from Sister Stella like I did when I was younger?
I did not. I did get paddled once.
Okay, so Kristi didn't bring the paddle, but she has a little ruler in her purse.
She has a ruler?
Right? Oh, yeah, she's already ready to...
Okay, so I'm sitting up straight.
In the upright listening position, please.
That's right.
Thank
that's
you.
right.
Thank you.
Crisscross applesauce. And we are pleased to welcome Kristi Yates from the University Systems of Georgia eCampus. Kristi, welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So eCampus, I think when we say University Systems of Georgia, we're talking about the University Systems of Georgia. But eCampus, tell everybody about what that is.
All right. So the University Systems of Georgia is, of course, kind of the governing body for all of the colleges and universities in this state. And we are a service unit of those colleges and universities. So we help support and promote their online courses.
Online is the place where everybody seems to be going. The trend is drastically moving in the right direction from zero in 2000, let's say, to where it is right now. Can you talk a little bit about the growth and how the marketing aspect of trying to reach students and get them to attend classes where they don't have to show up on a campus or where they can still continue to do their work? Is that a important part of what you're doing right now?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we started eCore in 1999, and so we have seen exponential growth over those years, especially, we formed eMajor or eCampus in 2012. So through that, we have just been able to add more classes and more universities along with all the different majors that we offer.
So with the University Systems of Georgia kind of overseeing most or all of the universities, how many institutions, how many universities are currently participating?
Okay.
And if it's not enough, how many are coming on board every year? What's the growth pattern?
So we do see universities coming on board, especially for different majors. We are currently servicing 21 different universities in the state. You can find the whole list of those universities at ecore.usg.edu or either ecampus.usg.edu.
And this might be the time to ask a potentially important question. Is eCampus the only way universities can do it, or are there some universities that are doing online stuff, I guess I would say, for lack of a better term, on their own?
So that's a great question. So they are doing online classes on their own. Mm-hmm. And once again, we just add kind of an extra added layer for those students and for those advisors that, that need extra classes. So even online classes through an institution, say maybe full. So we can add, just an extra class or extra support.
So that's where that support comes in. And
right.
And I love the fact that the University System of Georgia is not penalizing a college for kind of striking out on their own or trying to do something maybe different, or maybe just where they have a little more control. I don't know if that's the best word for it, but you guys are willing to come alongside and say, okay, if you're not going to use our whole thing, we can help you with this, that, or the other. That's exactly what a system like University System of Georgia is supposed to do. So kudos on that. So let's talk about the student for a second.
Okay.
What are some of the benefits of using an eCampus rather than going in person? And I'm assuming the most important one is affordability.
Right.
Am I correct in that?
Yes.
Okay. So let's start with that. Is it fair to ask what's the savings? What's the percentage? What can someone expect if they do an eCampus when it comes to affordability first? And then we can talk about some of the other benefits.
Sure. So first of all, it is super affordable. So our eCore is $159 per credit hour. To where our E-major is $199 per credit hour. And you will see that we have been able to lower our eCore tuition since 2014, which has saved students an estimated $18.3 million. We also offer free textbooks. For our eCore classes, all textbooks are embedded. And for our majors, most of the textbooks. There are a few classes that you might have to purchase a textbook for. But that, on average, saves a student about $128 per semester. So we do see that is definitely...
Not to mention the savings on room and board. Because, I mean, if
Right.
anyone's listening who's had a child go through college, especially in the last 10 years, so much of it's the room and board, it's the meal plan, it's the fees that the university will add on. And those fees pay for things. I mean,
Right.
it's not illegal or wrong, but obviously that's the biggest savings. Then on top of that, to be savings on books and savings on core classes, I mean, or just taking classes, it's savings upon savings upon savings. So I'm in. My checkbook likes that. Nobody uses a checkbook. My credit card likes that.
Right.
Credit card would be the way to say it.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the ideal student. You also have the 18, maybe 17-year-olds that are graduating, but then you've got the business people that may be in their 30s, 40s, 50s that are thinking, you're nodding. Tell me a little bit more about who
Exactly.
you're trying to contact to see this may be the right thing for you.
Absolutely. So we have two different programs. We have an eCore program and an E-major program. So I'll kind of start with the ideal student for an eCore program. So we see that high school students, those dual enrollment students, are really ideal for our eCore classes. Those are those 11th and 12th grade students who are wanting to get some core classes while still in high school, but maybe they can't drive themselves or they have transportation issues. You know, our classes are really good because they are 100% online. So even if they were to have a proctored exam, that could be done online if, you know, a transportation issue was an issue. And then we also see an ideal student are those students who are enrolled in maybe a college setting, but just needed that one class that they could not fit into their schedule. Well, that's where our classes might just fit perfectly in one of these institutions. And then you always just have that person who thinks, well, I just need to go to work after high school and wants to, take a core class here or there. And so that's kind of where our core classes come into place for those students, where it's just flexible and convenient. Then with our E-major, we find that those working professionals who maybe once had an associate's degree or have some college, but just want to go back to school and want to finish that degree. That's where we see the sweet spot for our majors really come into place, are for those working professionals. And also we see like military, you know, they join the military and they can continue their education in one institution, even though they may be, you know, traveling state to state or country to country. They can still continue with us.
When the most people who interact with the eCampus program, it through the college? Is it that the college is saying, hey, engage with us online, or do they come directly to you?
With our program, they would enroll or apply to one of our 21 different institutions. That's where they get the credit from. So if they need a core class and they enroll in one of those institutions, that's where they get their core. If they decide to go to a different institution, those credits will transfer, so they are all transferable. And then with our majors, those are a little bit more institution specific, and they would enroll within that institution, and that's where they get their degree.
So one other question I had that was just kind of top of mind for me is, and I'm kind of putting myself in my own experiences and maybe other, especially business owners, business leaders' experiences, because that's a large part of our listenership. A lot of times when we see an online class, I think sometimes there's this, oh, you can go through this class and there's very little structure, or especially like there's no end date. I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, this follows just like a typical college semester. You can do it anytime you're free, but there's an end date, there's an exam, there's a syllabus that has to be followed, just as if I were on campus, but I just have the freedom of when I do it during the semester. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Oh, I got it right. Ooh, gold
yes.
star for me.
You know,
I got 100 on that quiz.
We're not very smart, Kristi, but sometimes,
I luck into something.
Yeah. We're getting lucky.
A broken clock is right twice a day.
Twice a day.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the sweet spot for you and what you do of being able to help any student that is really kind of in a need from an educational standpoint and wants to get this, that, or the other? Where does your joy come in that?
Well, I think really we just pride ourselves on being able to help those that otherwise, might not be able to go to school because of, transportation or kids or work.
Or money.
Or money.
That's a
and
factor.
absolutely. And so we definitely can do that. Another thing about money is that, these working professionals, we really have tools to be able to help them, as far as tuition assistance. So, a lot of people don't even know to ask your employers about tuition assistance. And so many employers nowadays are offering that tuition assistance. And so we also can walk you through the admission process. We have people to help you in that, to look at your prior transcripts and tell you how long, it would be to complete those degrees. So we feel like we really have that added support for those students and can help.
I was going to ask, if I'm a business owner in Gwinnett County or anywhere in Georgia listening to this show, I would think if I wanted to add to my benefit package to offer any employee the ability to go, if they were willing to do eCampus through a college and got admitted at those costs of $159 and $199, at least meet, if not match, if not reimburse. I mean, there's so many different options. That's a great benefit.
It's a great benefit.
I mean, we can talk about 401k, we can talk about insurance, we can talk about those things. How about, hey, if you want to continue your education or go back or get a degree or add to your degree, I'll come up with a deal. So that's a fantastic thing. The other thing I was going to ask as well is, I assume Hope Scholarship and Zell and that kind of stuff for students is available to be used through the eCampus.
Absolutely.
So anybody who says, oh, college should be free, if you're on Hope or Zell, it basically is if you do eCampus.
Yes.
So there's an option.
There's an option.
There's a fear that a lot of people have about, I just don't know, and this may not be right for me. Is part of your job the psychology of saying, listen, let's talk a little bit about what your life goals are and your plans, and let's see if getting a degree or working on a master's or a doctorate would be a part of that? You get to be a part of that as well, right?
I do, and I love it. Being able to see and, help people reach their highest potential is definitely rewarding.
What's the eCampus experience? Is it I'm watching a screen and I sit through a lecture online, or is it nobody talking to me at all and it's all I got to read. And I mean, tell me a little bit about the experience. I'm sure it's different. Every class is a little different. But what's my experience going to be if I sit down in front of my computer on the first day and I'm ready to kind of go through eCampus and do an online class?
So, as you said before, it is all asynchronous delivery, and so all classes are set up the same, basically. So, if you have an eCore class or an all eCore classes are kind of set up the same. They're going to be different, but the templates are going to be the same. It's not lectures, but our professors are there 100% to help and are very engaged with the students, even though it's not in a lecture format. So, they do have deadlines, of course, to have their assignments turned in, and then, of course, test dates and proctor dates along the way as well.
And I would assume one of the things we said earlier in the interview, colleges that do their own online classes, they might do them a little different. Maybe they use their professors who tape some things. I know on the high school level, Gwinnett has its own online versus the other online available that's separate. So I would imagine there's you can put your own sauce in the gumbo that you want to if you're doing your own eCampus. But you said there were 21 colleges that participate through the University Systems of Georgia eCampus. Are you seeing some that, I don't know quite how to ask this question. I didn't want to just let you list them all, but I guess I was going to ask, I would imagine they're spread out regionally. Have you guys found a good coverage for the state, even though it's online?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have schools, the University of North Georgia is at maybe the top. We have Valdosta State, Savannah State University.
Go Blazers. Sorry, my oldest goes to Valdosta State. I apologize to Savannah State. I just spoke over them, but go Valdosta State. Anyway,
so
go
that's
ahead.
okay. I'm gonna list them really quick because I hate to leave one of them out. But we have ABAC, Albany State, Atlanta Metropolitan State, Clayton State University, the College of Coastal Georgia, Columbus State, Dalton State, East Georgia State College, Fort Valley State, Georgia Gwinnett, Georgia Highlands, Georgia Southern, Gordon State, Georgia Southwestern State University, Georgia State University, Kennesaw State University, Middle Georgia State, South Georgia, the University of West Georgia, and I think I've listed them all.
If we were in a baseball game, and you mentioned 1999 as being the initial portion of this, and Steven still parties like it's 1999, but we probably didn't know as much then as we do now. How are we in the fourth or fifth inning, or is this right now? Is this as good as it's going to get? Have we learned to say, yeah, this didn't work, or this is going to be improved and enhanced? Where do you think we are, and what's the growth projection for the future in terms of the amount of people that were not even interested at taking an e-class and now going, you know what, this would actually fit better than me going to a campus? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that we have seen growth every year and continue to see growth in different areas even. And so I think that's something that we're constantly looking at is what are the needs, and what are the needs of the professionals in Georgia and the workforce in Georgia, and so that's ever changing as well. And so we're kind of looking at that, and we want to stay on top of that. One of the degrees that we've added recently is a financial technology degree, and we see that's huge here in Atlanta. And just a fun fact about that is that 70% of all financial transactions in the country come through Atlanta, and we see that. Let me get this right.
She's
she's
looking at her
cheat
curriculum.
sheet.
No, it's her curriculum.
No, those are her Cliff Notes. She has Cliff Notes. You had those, did you? Have those?
The yellow book. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so the number is 2,000 new financial technology jobs starting in 2023. And so we look at stuff like that and see, where can we help and what is growing. And so we now have a financial technology degree that you can get, knowing that you, as a professional, can go out and get a job, and so it's constantly growing, and we see that field is growing, the degree is growing, and that's just one example of how we kind of see and how we look at the market and continue to grow.
We've been speaking with Kristi Yates. She is with University Systems of Georgia eCampus. I did not say this at the beginning of the interview. If you haven't figured it out yet, she is an eCampus recruiter. So she's been in here recruiting and talking about all the different things around eCampus and the University Systems of Georgia. So as a recruiter, let's finish on that. Your main job is it more you're recruiting other colleges, that list of 21 that you spoke about? Is it to add more? Is it to recruit students to use eCampus? What is your main job as a recruiter?
Okay, so there we do have people who that is their main job, is to continue to talk with different institutions, and within those institutions add different curriculums. But my job as a recruiter is to really go out there and recruit those students and expand our student base across both eCore and our E-majors.
I like it. So a lot of, I would imagine, a lot of times in school cafeterias and theater rooms I would imagine that just like any other college, you're there to kind of promote, hey, eCampus is a possibility for certain students. I like that.
And for the person who might be listening who is a little bit older, they might have some gray hair or just a little more wisdom, and they're thinking about, gosh, I really should have, would have, could have, wanted to finish my degree or get my master's or something like that. You can help them with at least the planning and what it would take and allow for that to happen.
Yes.
And that's what you do. You just got a smile on her face because she goes, yeah, that's right up my alley. I'm there.
You asked such a good question. All she had to say was yes, because you put everything in there. That's it. So there's and I'm just sitting here thinking, Harper, how many of our listeners, business owners, again, for their employees to increase, either go back and finish their degree. I'm thinking of students. I'm thinking of parents listening about their kids who might be looking. If your child is not sure what they want to do, take a gap year, but actually get your core classes out of the way. What's wrong with that?
Absolutely.
I mean, I didn't qualify for Hope. Great. Take a year and get your foundation of your college classes. Do it online while you work. You might get the grades to then qualify for the Hope after your first year of college. I mean, there's so many great options available. I want to go back to a question, Harper, and this might be the last one. We're kind of wrapping up here. But he kind of talked about, and I loved your analogy, of course, of where we are in the baseball game. Can you peek around the corner and talk about what we're not doing now on eCampus that might be in the future? Do you see it? Because it's been this great, hey, if I don't have the other option, or I'm kind of supporting an on-campus. One of my sons took an online course even though he's on campus because I couldn't get into that other course. Can you peek around the corner? Is there something we're not currently doing on eCampus that you see the technology allowing us to do, or the usage, or is it just this is the best option as support or alternative? And I don't say alternative in a bad light at all.
I would not say. I think we're always looking for ways to improve and to keep growing, and so I'm not so 100% sure what all that even is for the future. But I do know that we continue to add classes and we continue to add schools and majors, and so.
Well, it used to be books and paper and pen, and now everybody's doing everything with their phone.
Right.
Just from a technological standpoint, it's so uniquely different than the way I went to school, Stephen.
And I think it used to be online was such an individual experience. I just sit in front of a screen and read or listen to a lecture. But I think there's probably more interactivity. There's probably, Zoom classes online.
Yeah.
Right.
You've got 50 people on a little screen, and they can all raise their hand in one way, shape, or form.
sure
ask questions. And you mentioned the interaction with some of the professors. I would imagine that is still an integral part of it, and how even if I'm not on the campus, I got kind of a C- on that test, and I really who do I get to touch base with? Is that a part of what you do as well, is to make sure that there's a certainty of somebody on the other end, whether it be a phone or a conversation, that can help you?
Absolutely. Within some of our benefits, one of the things that we have are student success coaches as well. And so everybody on staff at eCampus is part of the student success team. And we encourage, we can kind of see if they've not been online, and we call those. Also, our professors.
I bet they've got a ruler there.
Yes.
Hit you over the head, over
Send
the
a small
wrist.
electric shock through
Yes.
the phone.
Yeah, get back on class.
Our
What are you doing?
professors are very aware of the students who maybe were, in attendance at the beginning and kind of has slacked off. They'll email us, and us being part of that team, we then reach out to those students, because we understand online, is a little bit difficult, and it's easy to get caught up in everyday life and, oh my God, I forgot about that. Mm-hmm. So that's where we come into place too, and really support and add that just extra level of support for those online students.
It takes self-motivation, and we've all lived through, and if we had kids in school, they lived through the COVID years of being online every day. That got tiring. That's tough. It definitely takes some motivation, and it's good to know that there's support behind it. So Kristi Yates, University Systems of Georgia, the eCampus. Normally at this point in the interview, we tell people, hey, for those who want to get in touch with you. So I'm thinking colleges that are not participating that want to, students that want to find out more information. Obviously, they can go to the list of those colleges you listed, but for those people that really want to reach the eCampus, how do they get in touch with you guys?
So we have 3 different websites, ecampus.usg.edu. If you're more interested in our core program, go to core.usg.edu. And then if you are looking, you've already had some core classes and you're really wanting to look into those majors, you can go to emajor.usg.edu. But our eCampus, you can click on eCore or eMajor, so it's kind of a one-stop shop there.
Clear, concise, educational websites. Imagine that from the University System.
And if you get lost in one, you can. Oh, I really needed the other one. I wanted eMajor.
And you can find the other there as well.
They're all they're interactive.
Absolutely. Kristi Yates, eCampus recruiter from University Systems of Georgia eCampus. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Hey, if you're planning your financial future and looking for the support to meet tomorrow's challenges today, Regions has a local team of experienced wealth advisors. They can offer you resources, insights, everything that you're looking for. It's right in Gwinnett. You'll get the unique products, services, strategic solutions, all that fits within the needs to help you move forward. Are you ready to take the step forward? Regions can help. To learn more, visit regions.com/wealth management. Regions Bank.
Member FDIC.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
No, you couldn't. That's right. Now, Mike could have. He's better than both of us. But
yeah, he is.
He's producing today.
Yeah.
So, Harper, I'm so glad I got to do the show with you. It had been a little while. You'd been producing and doing a great job.
Yeah, Mike was slacking for a little while, and now he's decided that he's,
You know what I think?
He's gonna be sharing the wealth a little bit.
A little bit. I think he's trying to figure out where he fits in this new team, even though he's the great lead. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He could have been on helping Kristi answer questions a little bit better than you and I could. That's for sure.
I don't know.
Because he's got like a degree from University of Georgia. He thinks he's a big hotshot with that.
Yeah, okay. I'm not going to touch
You're not
that
going to
with
touch
a 29.5-foot
no,
pole.
No.
Now,
Kristi's a War Eagle, right?
Absolutely. War Eagle and Auburn Tiger. I'm not quite sure which is which, but, I've had Auburn people tell me that before, but it's okay.
Battle cry versus mascot. That's
all I know is they might be having a down year now. They're still not as bad as my precious Jackets, who stink. But at least we won a game. Anyway, okay, sorry. As we devolve into college sports,
thanks again,
I
Kristi,
want to thank
being here. It was awesome. We appreciate your time.
I want to thank Kristi for being here. Also want to thank Mike producing the show. Harper, I want to thank you for co-hosting with me. And so I want to remind everybody that Gwinnett Business Radio is part of Business Radio X. You can go to businessradiox.com and find our shows. You can also go to basically any podcast distribution channel you can think of. Also, follow us online, all the social media platforms at Gwinnett Radio X. So for everybody in the studio, this is Steven saying we'll catch you next time on Gwinnett Business Radio.